The following matchup is being played with History Maker Baseball Express, a fast-playing baseball simulation board game, a property of Play Games LLC, copyright 2022, all rights reserved. Welcome to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. In today's episode, we kick off Canada versus USA week as both countries are going to be celebrating their independence. As we are going to feature I would say, a kind of sort of rivalry, so to speak, from the 1980s in the National League, as the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to be going toe to toe with the Montreal Expos. Who will come on top of this matchup? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in and find out for yourself because game one is just around the corner. But before we get to first pitch, let's take a look and say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of Rivalry Night as part of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. We would like to take time to say thank you to our official Play Game sponsors for sponsoring today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. This episode, first of all, is being brought to you by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. Hey, it's a blend of hops, rice, and barley that gives Bitty Beer its taste. But we know better. It's our brewing process that gives our beer that one-of-a-kind flavor that no premium beer can match. Our vats have never been cleaned. There's an itty-bitty bit of history in every can. Bitty Beer, the beer for folks who can't afford better. And by Doc Cola, the official cola drink of the Play Games community. Doc Cola uses finest ingredients to bring you that sugary blast of caffeine you've come to know and love. Twice the sugar and 3 times the caffeine of any other major. Doc Cola is sure to keep fired up from dawn till dusk. Take the Doc Cola challenge. See why our customers agree you'll never be able to wean yourself from a refreshing Doc Cola. And by Pizza Kingdom, the official pizza joint of the Play Games community. Pizza Kingdom, our signature New York style pizza, starts with crust. Then we layer on our homemade pizza sauce and load your pizza up with mounds of cheese. When it comes out of the oven, piping hot, golden brown, and ready for you to enjoy. Then we give the majestic culinary work of art to Mikey, our 16-year-old delivery driver who has responsible as a treat. Pizza Kingdom, it's sheer perfection. Left the store. And by Suncoast Capital Banks. At Suncoast Capital, we live by one simple rule of investing. When our clients win, we win. When our clients lose, we win. Suncoast Capital, you know we're going to get all of your money anyway. And by Rubicon Wireless. Why pay $200 a month for wireless service when you get 4 lines for just $25 a month? With our tin can plan, you can access our wireless network that covers at 25% of coast to coast between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4:30 a.m. Unlimited text and messaging those hours, of course. So why overpay for services you cannot live out? Rubicon Wireless. And we're just about set and ready to go for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night here to kick off Canada versus USA week as both countries celebrate their independence this week. Canada coming up on Wednesday and the US coming up on Saturday. With that being said, this matchup will feature the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates and the in the 1980 Montreal Expos. With that being said, your pitching matchup is as follows. For the Expos, Steve Rogers will be on the hill as he has star, semi-flash, and semi-control, and Jim Rooker will be on the hill for the Pirates as he has semi-star and semi-wild. With that being said, this game is being played with History Maker Baseball Express. And without further delay, let's get right down to game one here at the ballpark in Montreal for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night. 3-4-4 to kick things off here for this episode of Rivalry Night between the Pirates and the Expos. We have workman pitcher on Rogers, not a workman. Sad sack on Moreno. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, that is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Steve Rogers has semi-control, and the decider die says he does. So that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting Omar Moreno on at second base for Tim Foley off the men on base chart. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup, Steve Rogers will get the strikeout of Tim Foley. And that is going to do it for the top half of the first. The Pirates threaten but do not score in their half of the first. It's on to the Montreal Expos' turn and Jim Rooker's turn to keep them quiet at bay. It's Pirates nothing, and the Expos are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. Two, 3, 6. Struggler or gilded on Rooker. He's not. 2, 3, 6. Here we are. Sad sack on Ron LaFleur. He's not. So therefore, that's going to be an RBI question mark check. And yes, sir. The Expos are going to get on the board first here for this. Here for game one of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Expos and the Pirates, as it is Canada versus USA week, as we are featuring MLB teams from the United States and MLB teams from Canada. There were only 2 throughout Major League Baseball history, with the Montreal Expos today leading game one over the Pirates 1-0. This roll is for the top half of the second. 1-2-4. Ace on Rogers. He's not an ace. Champ on Parker. He's not a champ. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 1 dot for Flash and a dot for Control. That is going to do it for the top half of the second. After 1.5 innings of play, the Expos lead the Pirates 1-0. 1-2-4. Ace on Rooker. He's not an ace. Champ on Rodney Scott. He's not a champ. So therefore, that'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And that will seal up the deal for the first 2 innings here at the ballpark in Montreal with your score, Expos 1, Pirates nothing. 2-2-5. Ace on Rogers. He's not an ace. Hero on Milner. He's not a hero. So therefore, it's another no runs result of a 5 dot for Flash and a blank for Control. That is going to do it for the first 2.5 innings of this one. Your score after 2.5 innings is Expos 1, Pirates nothing. One, 2, 3. Workman or struggler on Rooker. He's not. 1, 2, 3, champ on Andre Dawson. He's a semi-champ. The decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Andre Dawson is a semi-active runner. The decider die says he is. So that 3 will be increased to a 4. So it'll be runners at the corners for Ellis Valentine off the men on base chart. 35. Control pitcher on Rooker. No, Jim does not have control, so therefore the bases are loaded, full of Expos, as we bring up Warren Cromartie. And if I do butcher any of these names, I do apologize. With that being said, 35. Yep, we continue to roll on the men on base chart with the bases loaded. With a 55, batting team dissonant or pitching team harmonious. Again, no team throughout the inaugural season of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour will take full advantage of who's dissonant, who's harmonious or not. So with that being said, it will be a single as the runner on third scores and the runner on second will score. It's 3-0 Expos. The runner on first goes to third. It'll be runners at the corners for Gary Carter. 55. Yep, we continue to roll on the men on base chart. With a 35, control pitcher, once more, Jim Rooker is not a control pitcher, so therefore, the bases are loaded, full of Expos. Larry Parrish is up at the dish. He can bust this game wide open, but not before the catcher goes out to the mound. So calm down his starter, and we do see that bullpen going to work here in the early going of this episode for game one. For game one of this episode of Rivalry Night as part of Canada versus USA week, as both countries are celebrating their independence this week. Canada on Wednesday and the U.S. and the United States on Saturday. With that being said, Rooker is all calmed down, and we're ready to roll back on the men on base chart with a 44. Wild pitcher allows the walk. Rooker is a semi-wild. The decider die says he is. Nowhere to put him. Station to station. It'll be a 4-0 lead for the Expos, and we do see that bullpen getting loose already for the Pirates as we continue on the men on base charts for Chris Spire. 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. And again, lefty versus lefty, righty versus righty. Since we have a righty versus lefty matchup, it's not going to be a strikeout, but it will be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We have a 3. Sad sack or utility. Spire is not either a sad sack or utility. So therefore, that is going to add on another run. It's Expos 5 and the Pirates nothing. And that is probably going to be the end of the day for Jim Rooker here after 3 innings of play, after he gives up a huge crooked number on that line score, out on that manually operated scoreboard here at the ballpark in Montreal. The score is the Expos 5 and the Pirates nothing. $256. Workman on Rogers. He's not a workman. Sad sack on Mike Easler. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Rogers has semi-flash, and the decider die says he does. So that 5 will be reduced to a 4, putting runners at the corners for Bill Madlock off the men on base chart. 34. Slugger hits a double. Bill Madlock is not a slugger, so therefore that is going to be a single. A run does come home to score, though. as it is now Expos 5 and the Pirates 1. Oh, and of course, that is going to do it. Yes, that is going to do it for the top half of the fourth. The Pirates do get on the board, though, but we do see a new bullpen arm trotting in from the pen for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll know who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that Enrique Romo will be on the hill for the Pittsburgh Pirates as he has semi-star, semi-flash, and full control. With that being said, for this at-bat against Ron LaFleur, Romo will have the full extent use of the star quality. With that being said, the Expos lead the Pirates as we resume play here in the fourth inning, the bottom half of the fourth, with the score Expos 5 and the Pirates 1. 3-4-5. Star pitcher on Romo. And again, we gave him the full extent use of the star quality, so therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 3 blank, and that will do it for the the first 4 innings of this one. Your score after 4 innings of play is the Expos 5 and the Pirates 1. 2-4-5. 2-4-5. Here we are. Struggler on Rogers. No. Sad sack on Ed Ott. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die. If flash or control, Rogers has semi-flash and semi-control. We'll take this decider die roll for flash. So that 4 will be reduced to a 3. Does he have control? He does. So that 3 will be reduced to a 2, putting the runner on its second base for Phil Garner, the late, great Phil Garner, off the men on base chart. 26, home run king, hits home run. Unfortunately, Phil Garner is not a home run king, so therefore, that is going to be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. It's a 5. Champ on Garner. He's not a champ. So therefore, that is going to be a pop-out to end the top half of the 5th. And it seems the Pirates threatened but did not score in their half of the 5th. We go to the bottom half of the inning. The Expos lead it 5-1. 1-1-6. Struggler on Enrique Romo. He's not a struggler. Utility on Scott. He's not. Oh, excuse me. Yes, he is. He is a utility. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Scott does not have home run king or slugger. So therefore, that is going to do it for the first 5. Yes, the first 5 innings of this one. Your score after 5 innings of play is Expos 5, Pirates 1, as it will be a no runs result of a 1 dot. 1 dot for Enrique Romo. We head to the 6th inning here at the ballpark in Montreal. 1-2-2. Struggler on Rogers. No. Champ on Omar Moreno. Not. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank for flash and a dot for control. And that is going to seal up the deal for the top half of the 6th. We go to the bottom half of the inning with your score still remaining. Expos 5, Pirates 1, here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night for Canada versus USA week. 1-1-3. Struggler on Romo. He's not a struggler. Utility on Dawson. Get out of here. When is Andre Dawson ever a utility batter? So therefore, that's going to be an RBI question mark check. And folks, the decider die says, yes, there will be an RBI. So add on an insurance run for the Expos as Dawson gets the RBI to check out here for the Expos. We go to the 7th inning by the score of 6-1 with the 1980 Expos in front of the Pittsburgh Pirates during Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Nights. (1-3-5). Ace on Rogers. So far, he's pitching like one, but he doesn't have it printed on his card. Champ on Tim Foley. He's not a champ. So therefore, that'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank for Flash and a 1 dot for Control. And that will take us to the stretch here at the ballpark in Montreal with your score, Expos 6, Pirates 1. We resume play here in the bottom half of the 7th with Ellis Valentine up at the dish against Enrique Romo with a 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded on Romo? He's not. Hero on Valentine? He's not. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die is not a 6. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that'll seal up the deal here for the first 7 innings of this one. The Expos still lead over the Pirates 6-1 as we head to the 8th inning here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Nights. (2-4-4). 2-4-4. Here we are. Ace on Rogers. So far, he's pitching like one, but unfortunately, he doesn't have it printed out on his card. Utility on Parker. He's not a utility. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Yes, if control. Rogers has semi-control, and the decider die was not used. Just to double check. Ace, no. Utility, no. So yes, decider die was not used. So Rogers does have control. Go big or go home. The Pirates are going to place the runner on at third base for John Milner off the men on base chart. (26). Home run king, it's home run. John Milner has semi-home run king. The decider die says yes, he does. Therefore, this ball is not coming back, folks. It is gone. John Milner will hit a 2-run home run as the Pirates cut the Expos lead in half, with the score still in favor of the Expos 6-3 as we resume off the men on base chart for Mike Easler. 34. Slugger hits double. Mike Easler is a semi-slugger. Oh, but the decider die says he's not. Therefore, that's going to be a single. It's a 2-run ball game now. The run does come, or excuse me. Sorry, take that run right back. Sorry, it was bases were cleared. So it'll be a single and nothing more. I just forgot to clear out the bases for the Pirates. So that's my fault there. The score remains 6-3 in favor of the Montreal Expos of 1980. (5-6-6). Star on Romo. He's a semi-star. The decider die says yes, he is. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 6 dots, and that is going to do it for the first 8 innings here at the ballpark in Montreal. Last call for the Buccos, as we do see a new bullpen arm trotting in for the bullpen for the Montreal Expos. We'll find out who that is after we take this really quick timeout. Last call for the Pirates, as Elias Sosa will be on the hill for the Expos, as he has star, semi-flash, and double control for this at-bat against Bill Madlock. Sosa will have the full extent use of the flash quality. With that being said, It's Expos 6, Pirates 3, last call for the Buccos here in Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 1, 2, 3. Workman or Struggler on Sosa? No. Champ on Madlock? He's not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 dot. And remember, we gave Sosa the full extent use of the flash quality for this at bat against Bill Madlock. And therefore, when the stats come up later, when we see the Game 1 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products, Sosa's stats will check out for a 1 for a full flash. So therefore, he will get 2 strikeouts in this inning. But with that being the case, Game 1 is going to go to the hands of the Montreal Expos as they beat the Pittsburgh Pirates by the final score here for Game 1 of this episode of Rivalry Night of 6-3. And we're just about set and ready to go for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Montreal Expos. Your pitching matchup for Game 2 of this Rivalry Night series is here from the stadium in Pittsburgh, which is Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. For Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night, your starting pitching matchup is Burt Blyleven for Pittsburgh and David Palmer for Montreal. Burt Blyleven has flash and control, while Palmer has star, semi-flash, and full control. With that being said, we're ready to play ball for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night as part of Canada versus USA week, as both countries are going to celebrate their independence this coming week, with Canada on Wednesday and the USA on Saturday. With that being said, let's play Game 2 as Burt Blyleven is ready to toe the hill against Gary Carter for the Expos. Let's play ball from Three Rivers Stadium. We'll begin Game 2 with a 1-4-6. Ace or dynamic on Blyleven? He's not. Sad sack on Gary Carter? He's not. So therefore, that's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Burt Blyleven does have control, so therefore, that 4 will be reduced to a 3. He'll place the runner safely on a first and second for Larry Parrish to hit off the men on base chart. We got a 56. Patient batter draws the walk. Unfortunately, Parrish is not a patient batter, so therefore, it will be a contact result. I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We got a 3. Sad sack or utility on Parrish? He is neither. So therefore, the Expos are going to strike first, yes, once more, as they lead it 1-0, thanks to a Larry Parrish RBI. It's Expos 1, and the Pirates are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. One-1-2 on Ed Ott. 1-1-2. Ace pitcher on Palmer. He's not. Sad sack on Ott. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, it looks like an RBI question mark result, and it will result in a tie ball game as Ed Ott will deliver the Pirates' first run of the game with an RBI. After 1 inning of play, we're all dead even at 1 here in Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 1-3-5. Ace on Blyleven. He's not. 135. Champ on Chris Spear. Chris Spear. He's not a champion, so therefore that is going to be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that is going to seal up the deal for the first inning and a half of this ball game. Your score remains deadlocked at 1 apiece between the Montreal Expos and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Two, 2-6. Ace on Palmer. He's not an ace. Utility on Berra, the second baseman for this game. He is a utility batter, so therefore it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. The black die, in this case, the white number is a 6. Berra has semi-slugger. The decider die was not used. Ace, no. Utility, yeah. So, yes, it was not used. Unfortunately, Dale Berra does not have a slugger. So, therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 2 blank. And that'll do it for the first 2 innings here at Three Rivers Stadium. Your score remains deadlocked at 1 apiece between the 1980 Montreal Expos and the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates. 4-4-6. 4-4-6. 4-4-6. Here we are. Star pitcher on Blyleven. He's not. Hero on Ron LaFleur. He's not a hero. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Ron LaFleur does not have home run king or slugger. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 4 blank. And that will seal up the deal for the first 2.5 innings of this one. The score remains deadlocked at 1 between the Montreal Expos and the Pittsburgh Pirates. One, two, three. Let's see here. Here we are. Workman or Struggler on Palmer. He's not. Champ on Moreno. He's not. That'll be a no runs result of a 3 dot, and that'll seal up the deal for the first 3 innings of this one. It's still anybody's game. We're all deadlocked at 1 apiece between the 1980 Montreal Expos and the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates. Four, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. 4. Here we are. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, I play it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh for those of you that are tuning in for the first time. Since the decider die says dot, I usually go by dot. He's still fresh. Blank, he's not. Burt Blyleven is still fresh. Do we have a champ on Scott? We do not. That is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Rodney Scott does not have home run king or slugger qualities, so therefore it will be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that'll seal up the deal for the first 3 innings of this one. Give me the first 3.5 innings of this one. We're still dead even at 1 between the Expos and the Pirates. Two, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Here we are. Pitcher not fresh. Again, I go by as dot, he's fresh. Blank, he's not. And again, we're playing it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Since we're in the semi-freshest innings, the decider die says that David Palmer is not fresh. So therefore, that'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Tim Foley is a neutral runner, so therefore, that 3 is going to stay put. Go big or go home. They're going to place the runner on at third base for Dave Parker off the men on base chart. 26. Home run king, it's home run. Unfortunately, Dave Parker is not a home run king. Therefore, it will be a contact result. And we have a 4. Champ or hero. Dave Parker is a semi-hero. The decider die says he is not. So therefore, that is going to be a ground out to end the first 4 innings here at Three River Stadium with your score, Expos 1, Pirates 1, as we move to the 5th inning here at Three River Stadium for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. 335. 335. Here we are. Struggler on Burt Blyleven. He's not. Do we have a champion batter on Dawson? We do, but it's semi-champ. The decider die says he's not. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 3 blank. That is going to do it for the first 4.5 innings of this one. Your score remains deadlocked at 1 apiece between the Expos and the Pirates. One, two, two. Struggler on Palmer. He's not. Champ on Stargell. He's not. So therefore, that's going to be a no runs result of a 2 blank. And that will seal up the deal for the first 5 innings of this one. Who is going to blink first in this 1-1 tie? We head to the 6th between the Expos and the Pirates, all knotted up at 1 apiece. One, 1-4. Struggler on Burt Blyleven. He's not. Champ on Valentine. He's a semi-champ. The decider die says he is not. Therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that is going to do it for the first 5.5 innings of this one. Your score remains deadlocked at 1 apiece between the Expos and the Pirates. 2-3-4. Pitcher not fresh. Well, again, we're in the semi-freshest inning still. And David Palmer, again, is not fresh. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result with a base running adjustment. Mike Easler is a neutral runner. So therefore, that 2 is going to remain put, putting Easler on at first base. And we go to Bill Madlock's at bats off the men on base charts. The runner on at second with a 46. Same reliever gets the strikeout. It seems, and again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. So Madlock is the batter. Sorry about that, as I was getting the pawn from, I dropped the pawn, so we're on Bill Madlock. And again, when we say same, it's righty versus righty, lefty versus lefty. Since we have a righty versus righty matchup on the mound here in front of us, it will be a strikeout for David Palmer, and that is going to do it for the first 6 innings here at Three River Stadium. Who is going to be the one to blink first? Your score after 6 innings is the 1980 Expos 1 and the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates 1. Burt Blyleven will be back out on the hill as we do see the bullpens at work. 2-3-6. Struggler or Gilded on Blyleven. Get out of here. No way. Sad sack on Warren Cromartie. He is not a sad sack. So therefore, that's going to be an RBI question mark check. Oh, and the decider die says, nope, we are staying put at a 1-1 tie as we head to the stretch here at Three River Stadium. Your score remains deadlocked at 1 apiece between the Expos and the Pirates. Timeout. And we're back here at Three Rivers Stadium with a pitching change coming the way at the hands of the Expos as Stan Banson will be on the hill as he has star, semi-flash, and semi-control. For this at-bat against Ed Ott, Bonson will have the full extent use of the flash quality. With that being said, the score remains deadlocked at 1. We resume play here in the bottom half of the 7th inning between the Expos and the Pirates for Game 2 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Sorry about that. I clicked on the wrong button on my scorebug system. There we go. 236. 236. Struggler or Gilded on Bonson. He's not. Sad sack on Ott. He's not. That is going to be an RBI question mark check, and it seems the decider die says yes, sir. The Pittsburgh Pirates are going to add on a run. It's 2-1 Pittsburgh. As we head to the as we head to the 8th inning, your score is the 80 Pirates 2 and the 1980 Expos 1. As we do see a new pitcher trotting in from the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll find out who that is after we take this really quick timeout. And it seems that Eddie Solomon will be on the hill for the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is a star and semi-control pitcher. But for this at-bat against Gary Carter, Solomon will have the full extent use of the semi-ace quality. With that being said, the Pirates hang on to their 2-1 lead over the Montreal Expos. 136. Ace on Solomon. Remember, we gave him the semi-ace quality. However, he doesn't have it according to the decider die. Hero on Carter. He's not a hero. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result. Yes, no runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Gary Carter has a semi-home run king. The decider die says he doesn't have it. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 1 blank, and that will seal up the deal for the top half of the 8th. Your score is still Pirates 2, Expos 1. $135. Ace on Bonson. He's not. Camp on Berra. He's not. That's going to be a no runs result with a roll of 3 dots for flash and a 3 dot for control. That is going to do it for the first 8 innings. Last call for the Expos. Your score is Pirates 2, Expos 1. Two, four, four. 244. Here we are. Ace pitcher on Solomon. No. Utility on Parrish. He's not. That's going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Eddie Solomon has semi-control. The decider die says yes, he does. That is going to place Parrish on at first base for Chris Spear to bat off the men on base chart with a 45. Fresh pitcher gets the ground out. Eddie Solomon is the bullpen arm for the Pirates. He is considered fresh for the remainder of the game. Therefore, that is going to be a ground out, and the ball game is over. The Pittsburgh Pirates win Game 2 by the final score of 2-1 as they tie it up at 1 game apiece. It's a winner-take-all game as we head back to Montreal for Game 3 of this episode of Rivalry Night. Stay tuned for Game 3 to come up after we take a look at the Game 2 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste. At a bitty price, it's Bitty Beer. winner take all. Here in this episode of Rivalry Night between the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates and the 1980 Montreal Expos. Your pitching matchup for Game 3 is going to be as follows. Scott Sanderson will be on the mound for Montreal. John Candelaria will be on the mound for the Pirates. With that being said, no changes to either lineup. They're going with the same lineups they roll out in Game 2. Let's see what we got here for this winner-take-all matchup between the Pirates and the Expos. We'll begin Game 2 with a 4-5-6. 4-5-6. Pitcher not fresh, and again, we're playing it as 3 full fresh, 3 semi-fresh. Since we're in the freshness inning still, the pitcher, Sanderson, is still fresh. Do we have a champion batter on Omar Moreno? He's not. That is going to be a no-runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Omar Moreno does not have home run king or slugger, so therefore, it'll be a no-runs result of a 4 blank, and that will do it for the top half of the first. It's Pirates nothing, and the Expos are coming to bat in their half of the first inning. Three, 5, 6. Workman on Candelaria. No. Champ on LaFleur. He's not a champ. Therefore, it'll be a no-runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. LaFleur does not have home run king or slugger. So therefore, it will be a no-runs result of a 6 blank. And that is going to seal up the deal for the first inning of play here at the ballpark in Montreal with your score at a big fat goose egg between, or I should say a big fat Canadian geese egg with your score of a zip-to-zip tie between the Pirates and the Expos. Got sank. 3-4-5. Star on Sanderson. He is a star. So therefore, that is going to be a no-runs result of a 4 blank. And that will seal up the deal for the first inning and a half of this one, with the score still knotted up at a big fat goose egg. One, 5, 6. Ace pitcher on Candelaria. He's not. Sad sack on Rodney Scott. He is not a sad sack. So therefore, it'll be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. Candelaria does not have flash. So that 5 is going to remain put, putting runners at second and third for Andre Dawson. Excuse me, he will have his hacks be taken off the men on base chart. 14, 14. Scrapper hits single. Unfortunately, Andre Dawson is not a scrapper, so therefore, the Expos are going to take the early lead once again. This time, they score 2 runs thanks to an Andre Dawson 2 RBI double, and that is going to bring up Ellis Valentine off the men on base chart. 11, batting team harmony or pitching team dissonant. Well, again, no one has taken full advantage of who's harmonious or who's dissonant or not. So therefore, it'll be a ground out to end the second inning here at the ballpark in Montreal. Your score is Expos 2, Pirates nothing after 2 innings of play. Two, 6, 6. Star on Sanderson. He is a star. So therefore, that is going to be a no-runs result of a 2 blank. And that'll seal up the deal for the top half of the third. We go to the bottom half of the inning with your score, Expos 2, Pirates nothing. 2, 3, 6. Struggler or gilded on Candelaria. He's not. Sad sack on Warren Cromartie. Excuse me. He is not. So therefore, that's going to be an RBI question mark check. Oh man, oh man, the decider die chose no, not this time. You guys scored last inning, but you're not going to score again here. So that is a huge break for the Pirates as the Expos still hang on to their 2-0 lead, as it'll be a no runs result of a 2-0. And that'll do it for the first 3 innings here at the ballpark in Montreal. Your score remains Expos 2 and the Pirates nothing. 1-2-6. Struggler or Gilded on Sanderson? He's not. Hero on Stargell? He's not. That is going to be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Willie Stargell has semi-home run king. The decider die says yes, he does. So therefore, that ball is not coming back, folks. It is au revoir, gone. As the Pirates, thanks to Willie Stargell, will get on the board thanks to a solo home run. They cut the Expos lead in half. It's 2-1, still in favor of the 1980 Montreal Expos. 5-5-6. Star on Candelaria. He's not. Hero on Gary Carter. He's not. No runs result with the possibility of a solo home run. Gary Carter has semi-home run king. However, the decider die says he does not. So therefore, that is going to be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and that'll do it for the first 4 innings of this ball game here in this winner-take-all matchup between the Expos and the Pirates, as the Expos still lead it 2-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. 3-4-6. Pitcher not fresh. We're in the semi-freshest innings. And Scott Sanderson says he is still fresh, according to the decider die. I go by it as dot, he's fresh, blank, he's not. Hero on Mike Easler. He's a semi-hero. The decider die says, oh, he's not. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result with a possibility of a solo home run. Mike Easler has semi-home run king. The black die is not a 6, but he does have a semi-home run king, though. Does he get the home run to tie things up? Oh, he does not. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 4 dot, and that will seal up the deal for the first 4.5 innings of this one. The Expos still hang on to their 2-1 lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning. 1-4-6. Ace or dynamic on Candelaria? He's not. Hero. Oh, I'm sorry. Sad sack on Parrish. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if control. Excuse me. Candelaria does have control. So therefore, that 4 will be reduced to a 3. They're going to place the runner safely on at first and second for Chris Spear to bat off the men on base chart. We have a 34. Slugger hits double. Unfortunately, Chris Spear is not a slugger, so therefore, that is going to be a single, adding on an insurance run. Unfortunately for that, runners advance 2 bases, so the runner on second scores, the runner on first goes to third, and it will be leaving it there. The score after 5 innings of play is Expos 3. Yes, Expos 3, Pirates 1. 1-5-6. Ace on Sanderson. So far, he's pitching like one, but again, he doesn't have it printed out on his card. Sad sack on Bill Madlock. He's not. That is going to be a men on base result. -1 for the black die if flash. So it looks like Sanderson has semi-flash, and the decider die says yes, he does. So from bases loaded, to runners on second and third, and that'll bring up Ed Ott off the men on base chart. We have a 26. Home run king, it's home run. Unfortunately, Ed Ott is not a home run king, so therefore it'll be a contact result. And I usually roll the red die for my contact chart results. We have a 4. Champer hero on Ott. He's neither. So therefore, that is going to be a ground out to end the top half of the 6th. The Pirates threaten but do not score here in the half inning of the 6th. Here in their half of the 6th, your score remains Expos 3, Pirates 1. Two, 3, 6 on Candelaria. Struggler on Candelaria or Gilded, no. Sad sack on Ron LaFleur. He's not a sad sack. So therefore, we have an RBI question mark check. And of course, the decider die says, yes, we do. So therefore, it'll be adding on another run, and that'll probably spell the end of the day for John Candelaria as the Expos add on to their lead. It's 4-1 in favor of the 1980 Montreal Expos. Uh, 3-5-5. Star on Sanderson. He is a star, so therefore it'll be a no runs result of a 5 dot, and we head to the stretch here at the ballpark in Montreal. Your score at the 7th inning stretch is Expos 4, Pirates 1. And a magnifique singing by the fine patrons here at the ballpark in Montreal as they sing a good rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And we play on here in the bottom half of the 7th, and we see a new pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates out on the mound as Rod Scurry will be on the hill as he has ace and flash printed out on his card. But for this at-bat against Rodney Scott, Rod Scurry will have the full extent use of the double flash quality. With that being said, the Expos hang on to their 4-1 lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates as we enter the bottom half of the 7th inning to resume play. 2-2-3. 2-2-3. Ace on Scurry. He is an ace, so therefore it's going to be a no runs result of a 2 dot. And again, when the stats are being finalized for this game, Rod Scurry for the at bat of Rodney Scott will have the double flash quality credited to his ledger. So with that being said, we continue on to the 8th inning as the Expos hang on to their 4-1 lead over the Pittsburgh Pirates. 1-1-4. Struggler on Sanderson. He's not. Champ on Omar Moreno. He's not a champ. So therefore, it'll be a no runs result of a 4 dot. We do see the fine folks here at the ballpark in Montreal give a good standing ovation to Scott Sanderson. We do see the manager for the Expos shake his hand as he is telling him we're going to the closer no matter what. With that being said, we head to the bottom half of the 8th. Your score is the 1980 Montreal Expos 4 and the 1980 Pittsburgh Pirates 1. 1-1-3. Struggler on Scurry. No. Utility on Andre Dawson. Get out of here. When is Andre Dawson ever a utility batter? So therefore, it'll be an RBI question mark check. And yes, they do add on a run, some insurance as well for the Expos, as the Expos now lead it over the Pittsburgh Pirates 5-1. We do see the closer for the Montreal Expos trotting in for the bullpen. We'll find out who that is if we take this really quick timeout. Last call for the Pittsburgh Pirates as Woody Fryman will be on the mound for the Expos. Fryman has semi-ace, semi-flash, and semi-control, but for this at-bat against Tim Foley, Fryman will have the full extent use of the ace quality. With that being said, Montreal is up 5-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. For the Pirates to at least get to extend this game to the bottom of the ninth, they're going to need to score 4 to tie and 5 to go to the bottom of the ninth with the lead. Let's see if they can do it as we resume play here in the top half of the ninth. 1-1-6. Struggler on Fryman. No. Utility on Foley. He's not a utility. Therefore, it's going to be an RBI question mark check. And unfortunately, the decider die says no. That is going to be the ball game, folks. The final score here at the ballpark in Montreal. The Expos will take this game and the series 2-1 as they win game 3 by the final of 5-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates, as it will be a no-runs result of a 1 blank for flash and a dot for control. With that being said, stay tuned for the game summary for game 3, and we will see you next time for the next episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And stay tuned to find out what's coming up next, right after we take a look at the game 3 game summary presented by your favorite Bitty Beer products. And again, we remind you, if you choose to drink Bitty Beer, please remember to drink responsibly. As always, it has big taste at a bitty price. It's Bitty Beer. Once again, the final score, the Expos win it 5-1 over the Pittsburgh Pirates as they take this Rivalry Night series 2-1. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode of Rivalry Night as we featured the Montreal Expos and the Pittsburgh Pirates going toe-to-toe in the latest installment of Rivalry Night. Well, it seems we ran out of time for today, but never fear. Let's see what's coming up next time here on the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. And to our friends of the North, it is Canada Day, and what a way to celebrate Canada Day with a reliving the country's last World Series championship on the latest edition of World Series Rewind, as we're going to rewind the clock back to 1993 when the Toronto Blue Jays took on the Philadelphia Phillies. Who will come on top of this matchup? Well, I guess you're going to have to tune in to find out next time here on a very special Canada Day edition of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the History Maker Baseball Express Hour that was being played with History Maker Baseball Express. We look forward to bringing you more matchups of Rivalry Night, World Series Rewind, Cross-Era Showdown, and a blast from the past as we revisit some classic and memorable games from Major League Baseball throughout the 2026 Major League Baseball regular season.